Welcome back to BT. Pleasure to have Billy Baldwin here on the couch with us. The way you make me feel. How's Vancouver making you feel so far now that you're back?
I swear, I love this town. I live on the West Coast. I live in Santa Barbara, and I would love for the opportunity to come up here and do a series sometime. I've made films here before and been here 2-3 months at a time, but to do a series and be here 6 months out of the year, I would love it.
What were the films that you did here in the city?
I did a film called, I've made 20 films in Canada, so I'm not sure which ones were, but I made a film called A Pyromaniac's Love Story.
Yeah.
And on that I worked with a young British actress named Sadie Frost, whose new boyfriend at the time was a completely unknown Jude Law.
Oh.
And Jude Law was hanging out with us on the set, and no one had any idea who this guy was, and I could tell that guy was going places when I met him. This is 20 years ago, but I've made several cable movies and stuff like that. I'm about to start another one in Toronto. I'm doing a Hallmark film that I'm starring in and producing called Lead With Your Heart. That's a working title right now. I don't know if that's going to be the final title, but yeah, I come back up here. We start shooting in Toronto and Sudbury starting the 17th, Wednesday the 17th.
And you got to be at the point where, you know, you've worked on several projects on the big screen and small screen where now you get to choose and be specific with, you know, what you want to put your face on. What speaks to you now when you look at the projects out there? What kind of stuff do you like to do?
You know, I wish I could say that that's true, but to be honest with you, I have 3 kids. I have a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 10-year-old. I was doing Flatliners with Kevin Bacon in 1989, and he had this conversation with me that I'm about to have with you. I got to treat it like it's a job. I got to treat it like it's work. Sometimes I don't get to pick and choose exactly what I want to put my name on. Sometimes I say, I've got 3 kids, and Daddy's got a job to do, and I've got to get out of bed, and I've got to go to work. So sometimes if I had, there's a couple gigs that I've done where if I had plenty of money in the bank, I probably wouldn't have done them.
You want to tell us about one of those gigs?
You know, you never know going in. There's always something worthwhile. There's always something you hang your hat on, a great part or a great script or a great director. They don't always turn out so great, as you know.
But you take risks and you put out the, you know, the creative contribution out there. Sliver, Backdraft, everyone's got their favorites with you. What type of reaction do you receive right now? Because the family, the lineage is rich with talent. You, Daniel, with Alex, Steven in there. Do people mix you up all the time?
Yes. I was saying last night I had somebody come up to me and said that they love me in Backdraft and Squid and the Whale, and they love me in Dirty Sexy Money and Gossip Girl, but their favorite was my father on 30 Rock. They was their personal family favorite was my father, Alec.
I'm sure he loves that.
On 30 Rock. So this has happened more than once, Alec. You're going to have to do something about that.
And the age gap, just so we know.
He's only 4 years older than me.
Only 4 years older.
You know, they keep saying, I don't know what that says about him or me, but, you know.
But you all have impressive hair, like we were just joking about before the break. Well, listen, you're here in Vancouver for good reason. The Rallye Cup event. Tell us about what's going on and the money being raised and all that.
Well, you know, I do a lot of fundraising over the last 20 years. I've been on the boards of various organizations that have raised tens of millions of dollars. And it's always fun to find a unique, innovative, out-of-the-box way to freshen fundraising, right? So here we have this event called it's kind of like Survivor meets The Amazing Race meets the movie Cannonball Run with Burt Reynolds and Dom DeLuise.
Sounds like a party.
There's 20 teams. They raise money all year. Tonight we will have a draft party. The #1 fundraiser will draft their favorite celebrity to captain their team. So the 20 teams will all have a celebrity captain, and we'll have a scavenger hunt that traverses every corner of this town in a scavenger hunt that employs car dealers and the fire department and the police department, sometimes the military. One time we did a stop with, here you could see us singing with Sarah McLachlan. We did something with the U.S. Olympic curling team. One time we did something in Toronto with the Toronto Maple Leafs. So it's just a gas to run around town with all these people, well-intended and having a lot of fun, outside of the box concept to raise money. We just have 3 days tearing it up, having a blast. And in the end of the day, they wind up raising a significant amount of money for a very important cause. And if you don't mind, I'll mention that cause.
Shoot it out there.
It's called the Washington Kids Foundation that we're gonna benefit at-risk youth. I think it's very important to take children 10, 12, 15 years old, boys and girls who are experiencing a rough time in their life, whether it's abuse or violence or divorce or addiction or illness, and to try and level the playing field by putting them in these programs and help them, create some newer and better opportunities in their lives.
Well, it's great to see you giving back, and one of the key things I heard there was the Toronto Maple Leafs. I know in the green room you're saying your team, you got to multitask tonight because you're loving the New York Rangers in Game 7 tonight.
I know. Their record with the King, with Lundqvist, his record in Game 7 is pretty impressive. I'm excited.
In our neck of the woods, Coach A.V. used to coach our Canucks. A few of us, myself included, are going with the Rangers, so we're with you on that. And, a family obviously stands out to you. Wilson Phillips, you've got a great connection with China Phillips. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we just went to Bali, and my wife did a corporate gig down in Bali, and then we stayed to celebrate our 24th anniversary. We've been together 24 years.
Congratulations.
3 awesome kids, a 15-year-old, yikes, and a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old. And yeah, we've been together. She's, one of the singers in Wilson Phillips and songwriter, and they play nonstop.
You got a favorite Wilson Phillips song, by the way?
No. My wife has actually written a couple of songs about me that have never been published that, of course, are my favorites. The ones that she's written.
What about, if you look at Wilson Phillips, Hold On, Release Me, which way would you go? It's big hits back in the day.
I like their 3-part harmony, but I've been at shows and I've done the fan meet and greets, and I see the way the fans respond to Hold On, and that song has a very deep and very special meaning to a lot of her fans, so I would have to say Hold On.
Hold On is the one. Yeah. Okay, now before we let you go, because the Baldwin brothers have such a great brand in the business, we wanted to see how well you know your brothers in a little game we'll call Which...
If I don't bat 1,000 on this, I'll be shocked, because I know these quotes, and they go right to basically the personality and or the IQ of my respective brothers. So if I don't bat 1,000 on this one, I'll be shocked.
Let's play. Which Baldwin brothers said it? Quote number 1, I'm your full-blown charismatic evangelical freak daddy.
That's so hard. Okay. That was Stephen.
Stephen. And what's your are you and Stephen tight? Stephen Baldwin, that is correct, by the way.
Oh, yeah. I just talked to him yesterday. He's in Jordan, and he's with the King in Jordan doing a documentary on all of the refugees, the Christian refugees that are coming out of Syria into Jordan right now. So he's there for a couple months doing a documentary on that.
It's a long stretch from Biodome right there,
but
do appreciate there's range. All right, next quote. Remember, sex is like a Chinese dinner. It ain't over till you both get your cookie.
It sounds like my brother Xander, Alexander. It sounds like Alec, but it could be. It's got to be Alec.
He is correct. He knows Alec.
It is, okay.
And he's known for all kinds of quotes. We had to kind of censor the one we
a
use.
curveball there. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, the next one's got a twist here.
My family calls him Xander.
Xander?
Xander, yeah, Alexander.
Oh.
I couldn't say it when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I couldn't say Alexander when I was 18 months old, and Xander just kept popping out, so it stuck. So all these years later, he's still Xander.
Final one. A person with a real flair is a gambler at heart.
That sounds like my brother Alec again.
You're going to go with Alec. Okay, this is actually a trick question. This is from legendary designer Billy Baldwin. Did you know there are 2 Billy Baldwins?
Of course.
Big designer?
See, I do. He was one of the most iconic American interior decorators of the 50s and 60s.
Yeah? Great history. Yeah. Billy, great to have you on the couch, man.
I didn't get them all. I'm so upset.
Xander, though, who knew? Yeah. You and Alec.